The gospel, which was just proclaimed, is the gospel according to St. John the Apostle. And he introduces us to the other great John the Baptist. And it was John the Baptist who really introduced Jesus into his public life. Those last 3 years of his life, which began at that moment, and then, of course, concluded with his suffering and death on the cross. But those 3 years began a series of miracles that Jesus performed. But the first of those miracles, of course, as everyone knows, was at the wedding feast of Cana. And that was perhaps maybe one of the most unusual of Jesus' miracles. He healed the sick and all, but changing water into wine, that's almost kind of incredible. Because everyone knows that it takes grapes and a lot of time to make wine. How could anyone do it in minutes and without the grapes? Our gospel writer, the Apostle John, didn't care why or how Jesus did it, but he did wonder what it meant. Most of Jesus' miracles had a logical and a practical purpose. For example, he healed the sick because they were sick, and he fed the hungry because they were hungry. But why turn water into wine? Certainly not to save a life, nor restore health, nor alleviate hunger. The only possible reason is to spare a bride and groom from embarrassment. But why would the Son of God concern himself with that? His mission was to bring salvation to the world, not to, in a sense, cater to wedding parties. It seems so frivolous, but John called it a sign. That means it was a symbol of something beyond itself. In other words, the event wasn't a big deal, but what it symbolized was a very big deal. To John, it was a small miracle, but with a great meaning. Consider for a moment what this story says about Jesus. Turning water into wine was a sign of his transforming power. Maybe it was a whisper of things to come. In the future, he would turn frowns into smiles, despair into hope, fear into faith, and sinners into saints. This small miracle also was a sign of Jesus' sensitivity. He cared about human feelings. His intervention saved a newly married couple from a painfully awkward situation. Imagine their embarrassment, running out of wine with hundreds of guests still there. Jesus performed that first public miracle for no apparent reason other than to save a young couple needless embarrassment. You and I have experienced small miracles like that, haven't we? Not spectacular, hardly even miracles, just acts of thoughtfulness and kindness. We're discouraged, nothing's going right, and then someone surprises us with a friendly phone call. Somehow it lifts our spirits because someone cared. Once when I was traveling to Milwaukee many years ago, I was on the newly opened Indiana Turnpike. It was a beautiful stretch of highway, but the service areas hadn't been completed and opened yet. Suddenly, the engine died, and I managed to pull over to the burn. I was out of gas. I knew I was at least 50 or so miles from the nearest gas station, so all I could do was get out, put up my thumb. I just got out of the car when a gentleman pulled up behind me and asked if he could help. He just happened to have a 2-gallon tank of gas in his trunk. He poured it into my gas tank. I wanted to do it, but oh, no, he said, get your hands dirty, I'll do it for you. And he refused any payment. He said he just likes to help people. I had at least some idea of how that couple at Cana must have felt. The main point of that gospel story, of the wedding feast at Cana, is that all of us can perform this same kind of miracle. Maybe we can't change water into wine, but we can do something with a similar effect. We all have the power to transform lives. Words we say and things we do can turn frowns into smiles and despair into hope. We can follow Jesus' example and transform good people into better people by some simple act of kindness. They may be small miracles, but with great meaning. Jesus did it, and so can we.